Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another America's Retirement Headquarters, Trends at 10. I'm out here on our patio outside our office here in sunny Maumee, Ohio. Just thought I'd do the presentation today outside because it is such a beautiful day. And it reminds me of spring cleaning. You know, around about this time, my mom would start to make mention of the fact that, hey, we need to clean up that shoe drawer, that shoe closet, that scary area in the laundry room there, or maybe it's time to start looking behind the refrigerator and cleaning that area, or you know, whatever it is. Maybe you need to do your windows right now. Whatever it is, it's time to do some spring cleaning. And not only is it time to do spring cleaning on your house, but it's also time to do some spring cleaning on your financial affairs. And so in this Trends at 10 today, I want to talk about how we help our clients do some spring cleaning. You know, what are some of the things that we do to help tidy up some of those loose ends, maybe some of those areas of your financial situation that you really don't understand or you're not an expert in. You've had questions about how we help tighten some of those things up. And so as you can see here, we have actually a 20-point checklist of things that we go through with all of our clients during our spring cleaning meetings, which is usually in April and May. And we consider our services what we call your personal CFO. And what that means is that as a CFO, we are in charge of all of the non-household regular everyday financial items, you know, everything besides paying the bills that you may not be an expert in. And the goal is to give you back more of your time because you're not spending time focusing on things that you're not an expert in. Consequently, we also have a personal CFO or a business CFO checklist. So you can actually hire the advisors at America's Retirement Headquarters if you're a business owner and you want us to look through, again, some of those non-core business financial related matters that are not tied to just everyday regular business operations. Okay, so let's get into just a couple of the estate planning checklist items. You know, this is typically the area where we find that there's the most clutter, and it's the area that's the most complicated, that people don't typically understand. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to review, review legal documents from your attorney. So your legal documents from your attorney would be your will, your power of attorneys, which give somebody else authority to transact business in your absence or in your incapacity. Then you also have your living will and your health directives, which direct a person and an organization, hospitals, doctors, how to handle your health affairs, you know, how to take care of you in the absence of you being able to tell them how you want to be taken care of. So we're going to review those, and if you don't have those documents, we're going to recommend an attorney so that you can get those documents drawn up as soon as possible. You know, again, last year, 2020, with the pandemic, I think it's become critically important that everybody have these healthcare directives on file so that we know how to take care of you in case anything happens unexpectedly. The other thing is we're going to talk about your trust. If you don't have a trust, or that's probably the question that we get asked most these days, is should I have a trust? And that's a good question. The question really comes down to, like a lot of other things in finance, it depends, right? So it depends on how much of the oversight you want in the courts and the estate court, probate, particularly in your financial affairs. And if you want zero oversight and interest in your affairs when you pass away, then you probably want to consider a trust. The reason being is that everything that's owned by a trust that passes through to your beneficiaries when you die, when you pass away, is private. And that's one of the most important key elements of a trust, is that it's private. So nobody knows what's in your estate when you have a trust, versus when you have in the absence of a trust, even if you have a will, everything goes to your beneficiaries through the probate process, which is public knowledge. We know exactly who the owners were, how much it was, and who it passed to. So if you want privacy and confidentiality, you probably want to consider a trust. The other thing is that if you have very specific instructions on how you want your assets to be distributed when you pass away, you probably want to consider a trust. The reason is that inside of that trust, it's a living document. It exists beyond your own lifetime. And so you can spell out very clearly for generations to come, as long as they're in being, typically, meaning alive generations, you can spell out how you want and when you want them to collect the funds. So let's say, for instance, you have a spendthrift grandson or granddaughter that's in your trust and that's in your estate. You want them to receive some money, but you'd be afraid that if they inherited, $100,000, what they would do with it. Maybe they'd go and blow it on a car, or maybe they'd buy Bitcoin with it. You don't know. So you can actually build in some protections to say that maybe when they're 25, they can get a portion. And then maybe when they're married, they can get another portion. And then by the time they're 35, they can inherit it all. Some other provisions that can be built into a trust are what we call springing provisions. And springing provisions are provisions that say, we don't want monies to be passed to people individually, meaning we don't want them to receive the money as an individual. We want to keep those dollars in trust for them. And so a springing provision will essentially, when you pass away, will open up other trusts and spring trusts into being for those beneficiaries. So the money stays in trust. It stays protected from potential bad divorces or any other situation like that, lawsuits, things like that. And thirdly, one of the other major benefits of having a spring cleaning meeting with your advisor at America's Retirement Headquarters is your beneficiary checklist. So we had a conversation with some clients last week who unfortunately had some family members that were written into their estate plan pass away. And it was very helpful to them for us to go through all of their assets, the brokerage accounts, the IRAs, the life insurance policies, and just kind of freshen up and update them on who the beneficiaries are and make sure that it's still accurate and those were the beneficiaries that they wanted on those accounts. It's very important because if that goes too long, you forget. When you get up in age, people sometimes that you've written into those trusts pass away. The other thing is, on the bright side, sometimes people come into being in the time that since you've opened those accounts up. Maybe you've had other grandchildren. Maybe you've had other family members and spouses of family members that have come into your life that you really want to benefit from your estate. It's a great time in the spring to pull some of those documents out, primarily because you're starting to get statements for all your taxes. You're probably in a position where you've got all the documents out on the table anyway. Your accountant or your CPA has reviewed them, and it's fresh on top of mind. So that's the other area where we can help you is with the beneficiary checklist. Let's give the advisors at America's Retirement Headquarters a phone call. We are ready. We have the experience, we have the tools, we have the talent to make your retirement dreams a reality today. And so again, it's this Friday coming up on St. Patrick's Day weekend, I believe. Have a good time. Be safe out there. And we'll talk to you next week. By the way, if trusts, estate planning, all of the nuances of the intricate parts of your estate plan and passing money on to the next generation and as seamlessly and tax efficiently as possible is on your mind, if this is something that you've worried about or something that you're questioning if it's in the proper situation, you can tune in next Thursday. We have a webinar. We have Richard Chamberlain from Chamberlain Law Group. It's in Perrysburg, Ohio, down the river. He's going to come. He's going to actually zoom in to a webinar with me. He's going to be a panelist, and we're going to have a discussion on trust planning, how to protect your family. He's written a book. It's very successful. He's going to give out copies to anybody that wants one. I've read it, and as a financial professional in the industry for almost 20 years, I can honestly tell you that this was probably one of the best books that's been written about estate planning. It's very simple to understand. He puts it in terms that the layperson, everyday mom and pop can understand. So I'd really recommend you check out his book. He's not paying me for any of that endorsement. It is a good book. And so you can tune in to that webinar on Thursday next week, March 19th. It's going to be from 4 to 5 p.m. approximately. Might run over a little bit if we have any questions, but tune in. So I'm going to put a link to the registration in this video at the bottom in the comments. And then again, shoot us a comment, shoot us a like. That's what we want to talk about today. Maybe there's something else that you want to talk about next week. All right. So enjoy your day. Enjoy this beautiful weather. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.